the next legendary city skin is coming to Call of Dragons, and in my opinion, it is going to be probably the most sought after and the best skin for any whale in the game, and that is because it is an infantry skin, and because of the changes that are coming to the next season, which are going to be introducing the Season of Strife, or KVK from Rise of Kingdom. This is going to be such a massive skin because infantry are going to be so much more important than they've ever been, especially if archers really do lose their long range. Hey everyone, Zoraz from Not Casual here, and we are going to be talking about the Butterfly Palace. Now, this is like the other previous skin. It is a legendary skin that you can equip to your city and give yourself these buff. Now, as we've talked about before, they started off with magic, which is for mages, and then they had archer, and now they had calves, and now they're going infantry. So it is the same rotation as hero releases, which is the kind of rotation that they've gone with and are going to keep going with if things are staying the same, which means that after this skin, the next one we could be seeing could be a mage skin again, because this is the one that came first basically, and it is the one that comes after infantry. But also there could be some surprises where the next legendary skin is actually a universal skin, which would mean that like it would give like plus 6% defense to all unit types, or plus 5% skill damage for all units, right? So these kind of things, they did do that in Rise of Kingdom, and those usually are the best skins in the game, especially the ones with skill damage. But we shall see what the future holds for Call of Dragons, even though it does look like Rise of Kingdom stuff is just basically the future of Call of Dragons. They're implementing basically everything that worked well in Rise of Kingdom and keeping some of the bad stuff aside. Now let's see how that goes in the future. But talking about this skin, why do I think this is going to be the most sought after and best skin in the game? Well, it's simple for two reasons, of course. We did see a huge buff to infantry units quite recently, basically last season, at the beginning of this season. They've made it so that this is going to make them take 40% less damage from ranged troops. This didn't exist before, it is a thing now, which means that any kind of infantry in this game currently takes 40% reduced damage from ranged troops, on top of having a lot of defense and a lot of tankiness. And of course, this game being a archer and mage meta, which especially archer, because the latest archer, Magrat and Zeta, are the strongest and most power crept, overpowered archers in the game right now, more strong than basically every other archer march before them by a huge margin. This is meaning that swordsmen are even more important than they ever were before, and in the field, in battle, you get to decide where your fight happens because of your line of infantry, which kind of decides the range of the fight. And this takes me to my next point, which is that next season we are not likely going to be having long range warfare anymore. I recommend you check my previous video where I talk about why that is and how come they're removing the season talents. But this is hopefully going to be a positive change in that aspect, because it kind of makes the game balance again in a way that it was intended to be. But this also means that with archers having no more long range warfare, it would mean that infantry are even more important than they ever were before. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because in the event that we do not have long range anymore, you can see this is kind of how it looks. So mages can fight from this far and attack basically where my infantry is, and archers would be kind of in this spot where they would need to attack in order to have the range. Now, infantry would be here against another enemy infantry, which would be the line of combat, which means that mages can stay far away and attack all the infantry, and archers can also stay this back and attack the infantry. But on the other side, the enemies, archers and infantry, in order to attack, they would need to basically come quite a lot closer, and having an infantry line basically allows the archers to come here and attack enemy archers or potentially enemy mages if possible, or in other situation, just basically the cav or the infantry that's in the front so that they can move past them. The first side in a battle who runs out of infantry and then lets in the flood of enemy melee and enemy mages means that as soon as your infantry line is gone, they come in and your ranged units, especially your archers, become pretty much useless. So this is why it's so important. Infantry is going to have a massive role. If we do lose long range warfare, there is going to be a lot of strategy and thought to be put into placement of your troops in the battlefield. It is going to have a huge impact, and archers are going to be really hard to get the same amount of value out of if your team runs out of infantry before the enemy teams. So this is why I'm saying infantry is going to be excessively important in the next upcoming season for Season of Strife. Now, on top of that, of course, with this skin, it is also going to be really good because first, infantry right now in the game are amazing, and Goresh and Skogul are absolutely game-changing as far as how strong they are. But also a lot of other infantry heroes do a really good job, such as Madden, for example. But having unit HP as the plus 10% is insanely good in my opinion, because HP is by far the best stat in the game, especially for infantry because they're tanky and they need the HP. But also HP has the highest value in the game because the more HP you have, the higher your troop count and higher your troop damage is calculated, because even if you take some damage, having more HP means that you still are doing more damage than if you had just pure attack. So if you have a troop of 100,000 and you lose 20,000 units, well, you are going to do 20%-ish less damage. But if you have more HP than the same exact kind of troop as your enemy, well, you are going to be taking less damage because 20% of your damage, or 20,000 out of your troop, is less because you're higher in HP and you tank longer. So it's a bit complicated. There's a lot of math involved, but really all the calculations show that HP gives you more defenseness, allows you to live longer, and the longer you live with the higher amount of troops, the more damage you do. So it's a pretty much of a no-brainer. Now, removing cavalry unique attack is also great because units of cavalry are currently absolutely garbage in Call of Dragons in 95% of situations. And magic unique attack is obviously a bit of a hurt because you would like to keep your mages as high attack as possible, as they're going to be one of the best unit types in the game, as they have always been, for safety as well as for damage and range, especially if they are not the only one with long range. But attack is the easiest stat to stack from talent trees, from heroes, as well as just simply is all on the artifacts. There's like 40, 50, 60% attack on the artifacts sometimes, meaning that you have a lot of attack, but there is not a lot of anything in the game that gives HP. So reducing attack is a lot less bad than reducing HP, for example. So really, this is all in all an amazing skin that works really good for basically all types of players, but especially any kind of well, because infantry is going to be something that they have to focus on. Any well in this game currently has at least one, if not two, maxed out awakened infantry marches, because that's just how good they are. But this skin is going to be insane competition to get it, in my opinion. Wells are going to be fighting over each other backwards. You know, the previous skin was this one, the cavalry, which of course some wells did spend a decent amount of money to get it, but the fact that I, as a very non-well player, was able to even get the 30-day token is telling of how terrible calves are in this game and how unwanted this skin was, as opposed to previously the marksman one, which was very good but gave defense, which is arguably the least favorable stat for marksmen. The stat they want the less. You know, it's not like it's bad, but it's not the stat that they would love. And also reduced magic unit HP, which is the worst thing that could be done. This, in comparison to this new upcoming skin, is day and night. Now, they're still good because there's no other options for these unit types to get a 10% buff. But in any case, the stats, the gameplay style that we're going to get into, the current state of infantry, there is just simply never been a time where a skin has come out that has been so relevant and so powerful that people will want it so badly. So if you are looking into getting this skin, you will obviously need to win the next Great Heights, which in my opinion will run you into 30 million power gain minimum to even have a chance of getting this skin. And on some servers, now that with migration and everything, there's going to be some super servers with a lot of really strong players. Yeah, 30 million, 40 million power might be the benchmark if you want to get this skin. So for those of you that are whales, of course, you know how much that costs. For those of you who are not, we're talking multiple thousands of dollars, if not more than like 5, even maybe up higher than 5 grand, in order to get what you need to buy this skin, depending on how long you've been buying packs, or if you're going to be buying them all with gems and last minute stuff if you haven't saved enough. It will depend, but this is going to be excessively expensive, and I'm very excited to see it in action, as well as see how powerful and how high the power cost will be to get this skin. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video.